If you like this cereal, you are a fucking idiot. Apple Jacks is an S tier cereal. If you don't like Apple Jacks, you're a fucking delinquent. Up next, we have this like ghost one, Boo Berry, whatever. I've had this very rarely, but I remember it being pretty subpar for what it should have been. So we're gonna put it in a C tier. Captain Crunch. This shit tore up the top of your mouth, and every minute of that pain was pure joy. S tier, baby. I would let that shit ruin my gums 6 days a week. Crunch Berries. I didn't really like Crunch Berries, and I didn't really hate Crunch Berries. I feel like every time I had Crunch Berries, I just wish I had regular Captain Crunch. So we're gonna go B tier for Crunch Berries. This donut Captain Crunch, I've never had it. Since there's no never had tier on this list, we'll just leave them at the bottom, and then we can revisit it in the future. Peanut Butter Captain Crunch is quite fucking good. It's an A tier. It's not as good as the OG, but I always enjoyed having Peanut Butter Captain Crunch. You can't go wrong with Cheerios. They're A tier, and they're A tier because they can always function as a bowl snack without getting your fingers sticky too. I am a big fan of rice-based cereals. However, I think the shape of Chex prevents them from going into S tier. The Cinnabon Cereal. I've had this thing rarely, but as good as the flavoring was, I always felt like the texture of it did not really do it justice. They always felt like very solid. Like I wanted them to be a little bit more permeable to the liquids, which they are. So I'm gonna go B tier. I didn't hate them, but I didn't think they're as good as they could have been. Cinnamon Toast Crunch. S tier, baby. You think that shit's a B tier? Are you stupid? Cinnamon Toast Crunch is the fucking goat of cereals. You knew if I had Cinnamon Toast Crunch in the morning, I was gonna have a good fucking day. This might be the king of cereals. I am a fan of Cocoa Puffs. However, I feel like sometimes it felt like there was just too much chocolate taste in your mouth. And that is very rare for me because I am obsessed with chocolate. Cocoa Puffs is a solid A tier. Kooky Crisp. This is probably the highest A tier there is. The reason I will not give Kooky Crisp the S tier is because I always felt like there needed to be more chocolate chips and it needed to scrape up my mouth a little bit less. Kellogg's Corn Flakes. Also an A tier. Corn Flakes were dependable. You were always happy to have them. They were pretty bad when they got soggy. However, have you ever tried fried chicken tenders that were coated in cornflakes? It's a fucking banger, I'll tell you that. If you think Pops are an S tier, you are a fucking delinquent. This shit was a B tier at best, bro. These things have the weirdest, smoothest texture to them. They always stuck together like fucking rocks. They just got soggy too fast. They stuck together so aggressively. And if you ever tried to stick your hand in the box to grab them and eat them by hand, it was the most unpleasant experience possible because your hands got sticky as fuck. Eggo Maple Syrup Cereal. These shit were fucking bangers. A tier. I rarely found them and I rarely had them, but whenever I did, it was a fucking delight. Up next, we got French Toast Crunch. I'll be honest, this was a disappointment to the Cinnamon Toast Crunch lineup. These guys did not live up to expectations. They didn't deserve the Toast Crunch name. They were a B tier. If you are a French Toast Crunch fan, you're not a real Cinnamon Toast Crunch fan. Up next, we got Fruit Loops. S tier. Fruit Loops are on some king shit, okay? Frosted Flakes, high A tier. I think Frosted Flakes is right up there on the cusp of making S tier on how godly it is, but they suffer from the same issue as Corn Flakes, where they get soggy way too quickly. Frosted Mini Wheats are kind of a subpar cereal. What the fuck were we eating? It was like eating paper shreds. Up next, we have Golden Crisp. Now, I have a very passionate opinion on Golden Crisp, and it's this. If you like this cereal, you are a fucking idiot. Objectively a fucking idiot. This is the worst thing to have ever hit the shelves of cereal in all time. These things are not cereal. They're not enjoyable. They are not delicious. There's never been a point in my life where I opened up my fucking cabinet to see these and I wasn't immediately pissed at my mother. This shit tastes like Pebbles. Pebbles that have this like slight sweet tinge to them, but it's not even enough to cover up the fact that you're eating rocks. These are horrendous. Golden Grams, on the other hand, that's A tier. Delicious. Fantastic flavor, fantastic texture. Honey Bunches of Oats. This shit was a B tier. I didn't hate having it, but it was always like confusing in the mouth. of like, I guess almonds are fine in my cereal, but really I just wanted the honey cluster more than anything. Almonds are not in the regular version. Are you sure? Oh, there was a version without almonds? Oh, then that's a banger. I just hated the almonds. That's an A tier. That's an A tier. Honeycomb, another solid A tier. Definitely near the S tier with how good Honeycomb was, but I felt like they got soggy too quickly. I would have enjoyed the crunch for longer. Honey Nut Cheerios. I know a lot of people loved Honey Nut Cheerios. I was not as obsessive with them. I think Honey Nut Cheerios are good, and I'll give them an A tier, but I don't think they're an S tier, to be honest. Kicks. Listen, I've been seeing some Kicks hate in chat, but I fucking love Kicks. This shit is A tier, baby. Kicks to me was the better Cheerios. There is nothing I loved more than grabbing a handful of Kicks and just smashing that shit down my throat. I think I confused Life with Chex, Rice Chex. So Life is A tier because this shit was banging. Chex goes down to B tier because I think if I remember correctly, Chex tasted like the plainer version of Life. So I may have confused these to start with. Now, I feel like Lucky Charms is one of those classic cereals that everyone might associate with S tier. However, they did not spark that same amount of joy in me. It's a solid A tier pick. It's a good cereal. I enjoyed the marshmallows much more than I enjoyed the rest of the cereal. Cocoa Pebbles. Now, I think there needs to be a discussion had on the Cocoa Pebbles and the Cocoa Krispies, because I think there's a battle here between Cocoa Pebbles and Cocoa Krispies. Cocoa Krispies are delicious, but Cocoa Pebbles are just fucking better in every way. That's an S tier cereal, baby. This is the king of chocolate cereals, bar none. Perfect texture, perfect consistency, satisfaction at every turn. Cocoa Krispies are still delicious. I'll give them A tier, but they bow to the might of Cocoa Pebbles. Fruity Pebbles. Fucking S tier. Are you kidding me? Fruity Pebbles are tied with Cinnamon Toast Crunch of being my all-time favorite cereal. I could smack these fuckers back 6 times a day, 7 days a week for the rest of my goddamn life. That shit is too goddamn delicious. I eat that shit before it even has a chance to get soggy. I suck that shit down my throat with the might of 10,000 tornadoes. I fucking love Fruity Pebbles. If you ain't rocking with Fruity Pebbles, you a dumb bitch. Remember that. Rice Krispies. This might surprise people because I put Cocoa Krispies in A tier. However, Rice Krispies is fucking S tier. Snap, Crackle, Pop are the kings of the generic rice cereal. This is my favorite non-flavored cereal. If you ain't rocking with Rice Krispies, I get it, but you're wrong. Raisin Bran. I think there are polarizing opinions on Raisin Bran, but here's what I will tell you. Raisin Bran is raisin banging. That's a solid A tier pick for me. I was never disappointed with Raisin Bran. The only reason I put Raisin Bran in A tier is because of Raisin Bran Crunch. When these motherfuckers came on the scene, I think they took the cereal world by storm. No one could have expected this cereal to climb the ranks and achieve godhood in S tier, baby. Raisin Bran Crunch is king. It took the best of Raisin Bran and made it even fucking better. It took Raisin Bran to heights you didn't know existed quite yet, but they did. Up next, we have Reese's Puffs. Reese's Puffs is a great cereal. However, I think this is on A tier on the cusp of S. For some reason, every time I took a bite of Reese's Puffs cereal, as much as I loved it, there was this moment where I felt like I wish there was more flavor in that bite, you know? And I don't know how to describe that, but it felt like the flavor from Reese's Puffs, like every bite made me want to take another bite because I just wanted more condensed flavoring. But it's still a fantastic cereal. There's just something about its composition that could have been done a little bit better to inch it into godhood. Special K, honestly, that's a fucking S tier cereal to me. Special K tastes to me like what would happen if you stitched together the Rice Krispies into a bigger piece. I'll be honest, I fucking love these guys. These guys are absolutely delicious. They are my other all-time favorite like plain cereal. Their texture is sublime to me. It's a sleeper S tier and a lot of people wouldn't agree with me, and that's totally fair, but I love them. Trix are an iconic cereal with fantastic commercials, and I'm going to give them the respect they deserve in A tier. I think what Trix fails to do is quite be the king of fruity cereals. Now, for the final cereal I've had this evening, Waffle Crisp. Waffle Crisp is a fucking banger of a cereal. Are you kidding me? If you don't S tier Waffle Crisp, you're just dumb and don't know cereals, and I can't respect your fucking opinion. Waffle Crisp was like that cereal that you rarely had because for some reason it was so hard to find. But the times that you went downstairs in the morning and you fucking opened your cereal cabinet and you saw mama bought Waffle Crisp is a day for joyous excitement, pleasure, and happiness. That was gonna be a good fucking day. And on top of that, I think Waffle Crisp had the best back of the box game. I just remember Waffle Crisp's maze games being better than everyone else's. All right, guys, what cereals out of these ones I haven't tried do you think I should buy and try? And maybe I'll even try them on stream. I'm gonna try to get as much of these as I find at the store. And maybe next week we'll do a little cereal eating stream, baby.